Howdy again, it's Tubalcain, and this time with edition number 10 of my This and That series, and it's been a while since I've done one of these, but I finally got a picture of my dad above my workbench here where I'm working on my models, and I talked about that one time quite a while ago, and he was my mentor and my teacher and so on. But in the near future here, watch for shop build, an engine build here of these little brass engines, which we'll call the Golden Boy or the Yellow Boy. I'm not sure which yet, but there'll be a complete long 8 or 10 part video on that, so be sure and watch that when it becomes available. And then some time ago in this edition 8 or so, I talked about a micrometer teaching aid that I used to use, or I used to manufacture and use. I made 10,000 of them, and somebody in Pekin, Illinois finally said, yeah, I remember those, the teacher had those. And then somebody else notified me and said, well, look at YouTube video called Tutorial How to Read a Micrometer, and there's a Mr. Cratheren that is using that teaching aid, that big teaching aid that I made so many of. So look that video up if you want to see what that micrometer looks like. I've got several viewer appreciation gifts that I want to show here. That Neil out of El Paso, Texas sent me this Vespa scooter manual. So if I ever get back to that project, and I hope to, but I haven't made any progress on it all, I got another manual to help me. And what gave me a kick out of that was, here's the original bill of sale for that for $5. And Warshawski's, some of you remember Warshawski's and J.C. Whitney's. If you were in Chicago on State Street, there were two doors. One said Warshawski and one said J.C. Whitney, and they both came into the same store. But now, long ago, they closed that Chicago store and opened it in LaSalle, Illinois, only about 20 miles from me. I think they had labor problems up there, and they almost went broke because they sent millions of those cheap paper catalogs to people every month, and some people got 3 or 4 of them every month, and it darn near busted them. But I thought that was interesting. This is dated 1979. $5 for that at that time. Now these books are all 29 or 39 bucks. Now I've talked repeatedly about my video called Disassembling of America, and I made several of these videos called Tubalcain Went Shopping Again, and I did that shopping up there at that screw machine shop in Leland, Illinois, and some of you drooled over some of the things that I bought, but Tom and Vic, the owners, are now selling on eBay, and Calcon 210 is their name if you want to look that up, or if you want to get a shot at buying some of the stuff. And I went up there to visit them recently, and the shop is quiet and dark, and they're still selling out, but I had a wonderful time talking to these guys. They're really neat guys. But if you want to buy some cutting tools and shop tools, take a look at those videos on eBay. In several of my videos on gear cutting and so on, I featured this big dividing head here by Cincinnati, and I lamented the fact that I did not have a center for this. And Joe out of Karnak, Illinois, sent me a nice center, and it's a Brown & Sharp number 10 taper, and that'll fit in there just right. And we got the dog holder there, so I can cut my gears between centers now. And this needs a little bit of polishing. It's got some pitting and so on, but I'll clean that up and possibly have to grind the point, and that's pretty nice. And appreciate that, Joe. Thank you very much. It'll go in there like this. And it's kind of hard to find these with the number 10 Brown & Sharp taper. Thanks to Bob from Schenectady, New York. He heard me talking about getting oversized and undersized reamers, and he sent me 7 or 8 reamers here that are just 1 or 2 thousandths oversized from their designated size. So for instance, a 1/4 inch would be 0.251, and these oversized reamers and sometimes undersized reamers are most useful and helpful when I build my models and I need to go a little over or under. And if you do much small work, you'll appreciate what those reamers can do. So thank you, Joe. And then I got a nice little flashlight here from Guy, and the guy is well, I don't know where he's from, but thank you, Guy. And he had bought a bunch of these, and he said these are the neatest things. They'll fit in your shirt pocket or your pocket, and they're just like super bright LED. And then they got this little deal here on the end that moves in and out to focus it. So that'll be handy around the shop. And several guys have sent me flashlights, and I use them all the time, and that way I can have one on every machine. So thank you, Guy. I went to a swap meet recently, an old engine and tractor swap meet, and of all things I found in a pail, along with a few other tools, this geometric 9/16 DSA die head, self-opening. So be sure and watch for a video where I'll demonstrate the use of that. That's really a nice item, and quite expensive if you bought it new, if they're even available anymore. From made in USA, by the way. And these came just the other day, a whole box full of little oilers, and these were from Scott in San Jose, California. Do you know the way to San Jose? Remember that? And they got the little hypodermic type point on them, or needle on them. That's just perfect for oiling my little models. And I put some 3-in-1 oil in there. Now he said that wasn't a good idea, that he uses Mobil 1, and maybe some of you other guys know of real thin oils that would be good. Let me know if you found or if you know of any oils. Now, there's even a little cap on here, so that's going to be handy, and I'll never run out of these. That's a lifetime supply, even if I give my brother and my some of my friends a couple of these too. So I really appreciate that, Scott. And now I'm going to go up to the computer, and I had recently traveled to Mobile, Alabama, and I went on board the Battleship Alabama and took a good look at the machine shop in there, and I'm going to show you just a little clip of that. It's not real good, but bear with me. And then also a school closing where I go into the shop, so stand by. This is tubalcain. I'm in Mobile, Alabama, and this is the Battleship Alabama, which I'm soon to go aboard and hope to take a few videos of the machine shop, but I will not do a complete tour. Massive ship. Here's the submarine drum. She's dry docked here on firm land in Mobile Bay, so let's take a walk up there and go down into the engine room. I'm now in the conning tower of the submarine drum, and that's the periscope. Look at all the controls, and I had to come up through this hatch, which I was happy to do. And that's where you sight it, right there. But the handles are gone. The brass handles are gone that Kirk Douglas operated, that would have flipped up right here. A lot of machinery and equipment here. And then you can see the periscope is in the up position, and of course it came down.
You got to keep all this shining and everything?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
You got to try.
I can't tell you what all the controls are, but it's pretty awesome in here.
That ladder goes up to the conning tower if you want to look up there, go up there.
There's yet another hatch. Where is it?
What is this room, sir?
Come on up.
Oh, come on up.
And there's another hatch, and that would take you, I think, outside. That's the one that had water gushing in it when the crew would have a panic dive.
This is all I need to see.
I'm in the engine room of the drum, and there's two mighty diesels here, and of all things, they're Fairbank Morse. Can you read this? My father-in-law worked for them in Freeport, Illinois. And here they are. I bet it was noisy and hot in here. And this engine room, and the entire ship for that matter, is absolutely immaculate thanks to the work of many volunteers. But I'm intrigued by these large diesels. And there's the air intake for them. And the control panels, and there's two control panels, one for each engine. Here's the throttle. Start and stop. How many cylinders are these? 1,600 horsepower.
9.
They're 9, did you say?
Yes, sir. They say 10 on the tag, but they're actually 9.
Okay.
There's a cutaway in the next room.
All right, they're 9-cylinder engines. Now I'm in the aft engine room, and there are actually 4 engines and 2 screws, and they're connected together by reduction gears and so on, but this engine is cut away. The aft engines, take a little picture of this, you can read this, but notice that of all things, this engine is upside down, so to speak. I got to study this a little bit and look through the different windows. This is much better lit than the other engine room, and again, Fairbanks Morse, and my foot here is on the generators. As far as I can tell, these are the injectors underneath here. And I'm down on my knees now. This is the deck. And again, the crankshaft, the massive crankshaft is up here on the top. And these are the connecting rod bolts. Very interesting and quite a different arrangement than what I'm used to seeing. Back here in the battery room and the electrical control panel, and you can see all of the meters here, amp meters and volt meters and about everything you would want to know about batteries and generators is told on these analog gauges. There's the tachometer. Engine speed, and then all the controls here on these levers. For instance, there's generator 1, generator 3, starboard motor start, starboard motor reverse, and so on the other side. And that's part of, I think, what you call the ship's telegraph, telling the control person here what to do with the levers. And that information sent from a conning tower, I suppose. I'm deducing that just from movies. This is the aft torpedo room. You can see some bunks here folded up, but the torpedoes would have been in these racks. And here's the torpedo tubes in the rear, 4 of them. And look at that brass shine. Big block and tackle there to load those torpedoes. Pretty awesome in here. And it smells like fresh paint, not like sweat. And there's some escape equipment. And back out on deck I go. Here's the conning tower. It's pretty windy up here, but you'll be able to see the 2 periscopes way up high. Another school shop bites the dust.
Yeah, at least. How about 4 of them for 3? And I tried Essential Indiana. Taking them apart and getting them on the truck.
Singular?
All in the name of the flag. It's a combination shop, woodworking and metalworking and drafting. There's some nice South Bend lathes.